validated! Greetings and salutations, my courtiers. Thank you for coming back to see me on this beautiful autumnal day. I hope you excuse my less than ebullient voice and persona. My husband and I managed to catch a cold over the course of the week, and that has made us want to complain a little bit more and live up to standards a little bit less. But I will do my best to try not to digress off of our subject matter today, which is the Crown Season 4 trailer that has been released. I have seen many react videos to the new trailer. And though you seem to enjoy my last react video for the Season 3 trailer, I enjoy trying to pick up on the clues that are left for us in said trailer, more so than just having a fangirl moment over them. Now, before we begin, I want to temper your viewing pleasure with a word of caution. We are going to be trying to pick up the clues that we see in the trailer to decipher what historical events that they're basing the season off of IRL. That does not mean we're prophesying the entire overarching story of the season, just what we might be seeing. So if you don't want to know what those things are, then I highly recommend that you not continue watching this video before I spill the tea.
Here is the stuff of which fairy tales.
Okay, so what we're looking at is the back profile of, more than likely, Princess Diana as she enters an antechamber, which I'm gonna guess is in Buckingham Palace. This is probably before Charles and Diana are married, simply because she's being introduced alone, but that's not a cold, hard fact that they're not married. I'm just assuming that they're not.
Stuff of which fairy tales are made.
Next, we appear to see the hen party or bachelorette party for Princess Diana before her wedding. They're leaving Buckingham Palace, which I may take issue on depending on how this scene is portrayed, because in fact Diana was living at Clarence's house and not Buckingham Palace just before her wedding, but
whatever.
The prince and princess on their wedding day.
okay, even though that is a really cute scene. This purview is Princess and Diana dancing in a very rare but public moment of happiness together during the 1983 Australian tour. Unfortunately, it was a brief part of their marriage where they were actually happy. It was Diana's first overseas royal engagement, where she broke royal tradition by bringing William with them. Prince William was 9 months old at the time, and neither Diana or Prince Charles really wanted to leave him behind because the tour was anticipated to be a month and a half long. Typically, royal parents leave their children behind for engagements or tours, but Princess Di and Charles broke with tradition on this occasion.
But fairy tales usually end at this point.
We finally get to see the face of the new Prime Minister, Margaret Thatcher. I find it particularly touching that they have these personal accoutrements of her earrings and pin that she wore quite often in a lot of her outfits. Speaking of jewelry, something that I find peculiarly lacking is her string of pearls. You'd be hard-pressed to find a picture of MT without her string of pearls.
With the simple phrase, "They lived happily ever after."
Oh, it feels so validated! If you recall, during my sneak peek trailer review, I mentioned that the opening scene was potentially a hint to the 1983 parade for Trooping the Color. That is where there was an assassination attempt on the Queen. It was a failed attempt and poorly planned attempt, But it also showcased Queen Elizabeth's enormous capability of self-control and just dignified composure under pressure.
Ever after. As husband and wife live out.
Now this little clip here is a little bit more obscure between Charles and Diana as far as what and where, but perhaps it is during a particular house party that Diana and Charles were both at, where they were able to share a rather personal and touching conversation regarding the funeral of someone who was close to Prince Charles. And this was before they started even dating, which could explain why she looks so besotted with Prince Charles and why he has a sort of shy smile but also kind of a sad look on his face.
Tell me about it, stud.
I got you.
But we'll see.
As husband and wife live out their vows.
Here we see the rather sad visage of the oft-forgotten Princess Margaret, what is clearly on the island of Mystique. At this point, depending on when the season starts, this could be just after the announcement of her divorce with Tony Armstrong Jones, where she was, quite vilified as being responsible for the breakdown of her marriage. Even the royal family tended to side with Lord Snowdon over their marriage woes. Their divorce was actually quite a big scandal, not just because of what led up to it,
A little bit of Monica in my life.
but also for the fact that the last royal who divorced before her was in 1694 with King George I. Unless you count King George IV, who separated from his wife, but he didn't actually divorce her. Either way, it was a huge span of time and made their divorce all the more infamous.
Loving and cherishing one another. Sharing life's splendors and misery.
Now, if you follow me on Instagram, you will see that I have an awful, or in my view, a perfectly rational obsession over my hats. And it took me less than 5 seconds to realize that the hat that Queen Elizabeth is wearing in this short little clip is the same hat that she wore to the wedding of Princess Diana and Prince Charles.
Sharing life's splendors and miseries.
Okay, so it's very brief, but it's extremely powerful. This funeral right here, I think, is going to be so hugely important. The profound emotional effect that the death of this family member had on not just Prince Philip, but also Prince Charles, which would be the assassination of Lord Mountbatten, aka Uncle Dickie. I've actually been reading his autobiography. Well, it's more like a photo album with excerpts of an autobiography. I highly recommend. Louis Mountbatten had a profound impact on the lives of Philip and Charles, both, as a paternal figure. In fact, random trivia, according to the Privy Council, the Queen's immediate descendants can use the name not just Windsor, but Windsor Mountbatten as their surname. So this particular tragedy may not have been the death of a high-ranking senior royal family member. Even though he was still the great-grandson of Queen Victoria, he was definitely someone who ranked high in importance among the senior royals. Don't bury the importance of this man's death in the subtext, Morgan. I'm warning you.
Don't make me kill you.
Achievements and setbacks.
Oh gosh. We can look forward to more dramatic staring. Why is this used so much? Ugh, it just makes everything awkward. Don't you think? Don't you think just the long blank staring is just makes you feel weird?
And in that moment, as they looked at me in some god-awful way, I realized
I have no soul.
What we're looking at here is clearly the Tartanitis of Balmoral. Now this could be when Prince Charles invited Diana Spencer to Balmoral while they were dating so that she could meet his family. Or this could also be after the fact. It was quite well known that Diana Spencer did not like being at Balmoral. She would often come back to London during the day just because she simply couldn't stand it.
They will be transformed in the process.
Why? I doubt Prince Charles is being assailed by Prince Philip in this exact moment. For some odd reason, the editor has decided to make it look that way. Or maybe he is, which drums up the question, why do they have to portray this? Why does Philip have to have that face? I'm getting flashbacks and I don't like it.
I'm sorry.
Oh God.
Our faith sees the wedding day not as the place of arrival, but the place where the adventure really begins.
Okay, so this is very clearly when Margaret Thatcher has been elected as Prime Minister, and she has gone to Buckingham Palace for Queen Elizabeth to ask her to form a government in her name.
Really begins.
Now, one might be quick to think that this is the funeral of Lord Mountbatten, as we have previously discussed. However, a very important detail is glaring out at us that would say otherwise. Lord Mountbatten was a decorated naval officer, also a war baby from World War I. However, the uniforms that we see here are from the Army, not the Navy. Could it be the funeral of one of the most eminent and revered courtiers who was literally the backbone of royal protocol across 3 successive monarchies? I don't know either. This does appear to be the St. Mary Abbots Church in Kensington, where Tommy Lascelles retired to at Kensington Palace and also subsequently passed away at. The Commonwealth is a coalition of nations. I do believe there are 54 of them, who actually used to be, most of them anyway, were territories of the British Empire once upon a time. But they have a special relationship with the British nation, and the Queen has been the head of this Commonwealth group for a very long time. Now, MT looks a little bit squirmish here. It could be due to the apartheid crisis that her and Queen Elizabeth had wildly opposing viewpoints on as far as how to handle, or it could be the Rhodesia Bush War, where MT famously or infamously danced with the president of Zambia. MT and the Queen quite often and quite notoriously had opposing viewpoints on a lot of things regarding politics and also just domestic matters. I really like the reference of Princess Diana being a ballet dancer. Again, we see Princess Margaret wearing an oxygen mask. This could be a reference to the lung cancer scare that she had, or depending on how far in advance they go in the season, could have been her first stroke. So it's really short and quick, but if you pause it just fast enough, this is Queen Elizabeth and Princess Royal sharing an emotional moment together. I was really disappointed that they skipped out on Princess Anne's wedding in the last season, and it's going to actually annoy me if they start the season off with Princess Anne getting married, because in season 3 they already went past that point in history in the timeline. I'm just gonna have to let it go. The emotional upset that Princess Anne seems to be displaying here could be over the breakdown of her own marriage to Mark Phillips, which is her first husband, or it could be after the attempt to kidnap Princess Anne, which ended with somebody getting shot. you'll see that this is the press release for the announcement of Charles and Diana's engagement, wherein you get to see her gigantic sapphire ring being showcased that the Duchess of Cambridge now wears. This whole thing. And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that they're going to portray the interview where Prince Charles infamously said,
Whatever in love means.
I can't help but get the sense of a psychological thriller from this trailer, like it should be streaming on Shudder or something. Either way, I'm still excited to see season 4, and I'm sure you are too when it comes out on November 15th. If you'd like to see me do a review of season 4 like I did for season 3, please let me know down in the comments below. And while you're down there in my comment section, do let me know what some of your predictions are and what you thought of this video. As the Gloriana of this channel, it is the essence of my duty to hear out the thoughts of my courtiers, as well as to respond to any complaints and concerns that you may have the way any other royal monarch would. I hope you all enjoy the rest of your autumnal day, and I will see you at court on November 15th. Farewell!